What's up, y'all? Live for a very short period of time. I know I don't show my face that much. I don't know why. Sometimes I think you guys just want to see the UFO stuff. But anyway, I figured I'd go live for a few minutes to see if you guys are out there, to see what's going on in the UFO community, the UFO world out here, and just chat with you guys just for a bit. This was not a planned live, but I went live on my other channel and figured I need to kind of go live here as well. I'm about 95% better with my voice. I do kind of have a cough drop in, I don't know why, but it's better than it was a couple days ago. It's better than it was last week. So, what's going on, Tommy? Just joined in. I appreciate you joining. Wasn't really a planned go live. It's just something I just wanted to do and talk to you guys about some stuff I'm gonna be doing on the channel over this year. Really, I did see some of the comments about certain things I'm gonna be doing this year, which I will be doing interviews with people. I do have some software that's getting set up. So what's going on, Luke? You guys are actually catching a go live, so I do appreciate you guys joining in. See my face. Normally I don't show myself that much. I'm not trying to hide anything. I just figured you guys want to see more of the content that I put out there. So Michael got the first live. I appreciate that. Do you think Bob Lazar is telling the truth? I do. I really do. Some people have said that if he was telling the truth, he'd be dead by now. Well, I think that Bob Lazar, he could come out with some information that could prove his case. He's even said it. His story has remained the same since he's first talked about it. People are questioning because when he was on Joe Rogan, he had a migraine. He couldn't remember some stuff and all that, but I've been following Bob Lazar since he first came out with all this, and I personally believe him. I believe everything he says is true. Details may have gotten changed over the years somewhat, but I do believe he probably has element 115. That's probably one thing that's keeping him safe. Um, who knows where it's at, but he does. I believe he has mentioned it before and he stopped talking about it. And it's funny because when people ask him about element 115, he says no comment now. So he's not one to sit up here and lie about it. You know, he may have made some money off of his story, but he hasn't made the millions he could have made. His website, United Nuclear, it does have stuff on there for UFOs and all that. So, long story short, I do believe Bob. He's the one that introduced us kind of the world publicly to Area 51, the S4 division over there. I think if he didn't say anything, it would still be kind of a mystery there. But since he started talking about that, they have made that region, that area, more inaccessible to the public. So just some of the stuff he says, it just adds up. I mean, it seems science fiction, but I think as time progressed on, it became more science fact with a lot of things, even though it doesn't to conform to a lot of our laws of physics, what the crafts can do, what I do believe in. So hopefully that was a long but short answer. So um, that just says what made me start the. I apologize if I'm clearing my throat a couple of times. So I started the UFO channel because I wanted to do something different. I do have an RC car channel. I was putting videos there. Sometimes I'll do videos every now and then, but I wanted to do something that was more focused on not just UFOs. I still haven't gotten into the Bigfoot thing I want to do. Other things that are out there, other paranormal activities. I do have videos that I am kind of working on. They're kind of an archive, talking about particular things like giants, how that relates to things. Other things that are out there, like are there giants out there? So I do basically in the next 30 days, you guys will see this month. I do have a video on, put my finger here so you guys can see it, not over here. So I do have something I'm working on for Bigfoot, giants, some of the evidence and information I found out there. Whether it's true or not, we will review that in the channel. I do have stuff talking about different races of aliens out there, if it's so true, because we don't have really photos. We have some stuff we don't know if it's true or not. I am working on the sport model compared to the ARV, so that's probably gonna come out within the next day or two. That's a little bit more in depth, but I really want to do that video. That's gonna compare the ARV, alien reproduction vehicle, to the sport model, which Bob Lazar talked about. There are differences in the vehicles. They both travel kind of the same way. They both kind of define gravity around the craft, kind of shrink it in the front, expand it in the back. but they're constructed differently. So that's going to be an interesting video that I put out. I'll try to get as in depth as I can. That's why I haven't put it out anytime soon. But those are some of the things that I wanted to do, plus a lot of other things. The reason why I started the channel. It probably shouldn't be called UFO Conspiracy. It should be called, UFO Phenomenon or Unknown Phenomena or something. But that's just something that came to mind. I actually have T-shirts and hats and all that stuff that pertain to it. And I've done NFTs and stuff like that too. But that was the main reason. I've always been curious about it. I didn't want to do it because I was just skeptical of some of the stuff out there, as you guys see with the YouTube algorithm. I'm still questioning why I put a video up, it doesn't get as many views, even though the channel has been up for 6 months, about 6 months now, and it actually reached 1,000 subscribers. It reached their threshold for monetization, and I appreciate you guys watching. So don't think I'm trying to say I don't, but I think that it should get a few more views than what it's currently getting. When I put a video out, it's probably under 1,000 views. It takes a day to hit 1,000 views, and it's kind of discouraging a little bit, but I'm going to continue to move forward with it. But I wanted to start because I wanted to do something separate from the RC car stuff I was doing and toy stuff. And I wanted to explore my talents as far as video editing, because I have a lot more I'm going to be doing with video editing and with that. So that's kind of the reason why I've always been interested in the phenomena. So long story short, I've been interested in it, and that's why I did it. Michael's in for the sweet. Cool. Appreciate you guys joining in. MJ Jump says Bob is the real deal. Yeah, he pretty much is. I know a lot of people want to discredit him, but I think he's the real deal right there. I think it's LANTYTY. Appreciate it. I try to do what I can. I know sometimes I mess up. Like the other day, I think when I was doing what I considered the ARV vehicle, and I said it was going to hover over top and I'm going to kind of kill the volume, and I didn't do it. I thought I did, but I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning trying to do that video because I've been trying to get that out. And lo and behold, I didn't kill the volume, so I do apologize about that. Maybe I'll do a short or something and repost it, but it does make a humming sound. And I think somebody was trying to get the frequency of, which was interesting. I didn't know you could actually do that from hearing it from, I don't know if you play it on this TV or phone, but that'd be interesting if somebody could get the frequency of it to try to determine if it was real or not. Because it's sometimes hard to determine if some of this footage is real or not. Because with today's technology, we can edit a lot of stuff. But so Jennifer says, do you believe there are different types of aliens? Yeah, I do. And some of the videos I'm going to be putting out in this year alone is going to talk about some of that. I do believe some of them could possibly be demonic or spiritual beings too. So we'll talk a little bit about that, because some of the stuff that they can do is very interesting. Like the original Men in Black. I remember I was reading the book on. I'm still kind of reading that book from Michael R. Bender. I can't remember his first name right now. For some reason, I can't remember. But he talked about how the beings kind of manifested in his room, and he smelled like a sulfur, like a burnt sulfur smell or something like that. And a lot of that's tied to, and whether people want to believe this or not, but a lot of times when people see demons or whatever, or sent to a certain part of hell, they actually smell it. So that's kind of what made me think about that. But I'm trying to make sure that when I present that, I got a little bit more evidence than what I'm putting in some of my other videos. So, but yes, I do believe there's different races out there. I think the universe is too big just for it to be us, but I think we kind of messed up, and that's why there's a lot of attention down here on Earth. I am going to start a different channel. It's going to talk about different things of that, because I don't want to mix a lot of that with this one. But yeah, and I see some people are saying too that there are many races out there. Yep. Appreciate that. I don't want to jamming. I think that's what it is. I appreciate you joining in. Ray is in the house. I don't want to butcher you guys' names, so I may spell them out. I'm not the best pronouncing of names and stuff. Sometimes the names, I'm like, what does that say? So I may spell some of them out. So Luke said I should put a poll up for some names. I do plan on in the future now. I'm getting some software. I do plan on trying to do some interviews with some of you guys that have had UFO experiences, that have been abducted. So I do have that coming in. I do plan on doing that sometime really soon. So stay tuned for that. Do some trial runs with some people until I can get a good format down. So that will be something that'll be coming up too. Because whether the people are telling the truth or not, we can get them on the channel. We can hear their story, and then we can go from there. So it'll probably be about a 20-30 minute interview when I start doing that. And then I got other people I'm going to interview too, and I'm just trying to get the software set up for it. It just takes time to get kind of this stuff together. So I know Brosa's underground beings from inside Earth would be good to cover. Yep. I actually, sorry, I'm crunching my cough drop, so I'm not sucking all the time. I actually, a while back, I met somebody. I was just out and about, and I was showing this girl something, and we were talking about something, and she said she was in Vegas, and she saw in a car a reptilian being, and she screamed and ran out because she had heard that they capture and eat people. And I should get her on the channel. She was in Nevada somewhere. I don't know exactly where she was at, but she was telling me about it. And she said she saw it in the car, was kind of sitting there, and it kind of turned and looked at her, and it scared her. And I said, "You sure it wasn't somebody in a uniform or anything like that?" And I think she, if I can recall her whole conversation, she said she kind of saw it kind of altering back into a human form or something. But it was a pretty fascinating story. And then I showed her some of the video stuff I had, so she was interested in that. So we kind of communicate back and forth about this. I think her story is pretty interesting. And it's the first time I just kind of randomly met somebody who said they actually saw a reptilian being. And I do believe a lot of this stuff has been here for a while. You guys know that I am Christian. Whether you're Christian or not, that's on you. I'm not trying to force that on you guys, but that is my belief. I believe after the flood, after it says in Genesis chapter 6 that there was a race called the Nephilim, and they actually survived the flood. So if the flood happened 10, 12,000 years ago, and you actually have a race that survived the flood, and they've been around for this long of a time, maybe they are some of the things and ones we're seeing out here. Maybe they actually built some stuff underground. Maybe they had something to do with the city of Atlantis at some point in time. I don't know, but there's videos I have on my list to at least try to present some of that to you guys to get some of your thoughts on it. So, he said one race is like a Wookiee. I can't remember the names all bad. I probably should have remembered some of that, but I know it was a guy who talked about Bigfoot being an alien, and they can kind of ascend and descend when they want and all that, which is pretty interesting. He got into a lot of in-depth stuff as far as being someone they would take at night, and I can't remember the guy's name, so I do apologize, but I have a list of stuff I kind of want to go over and at least present you guys. There's so much you can review in this particular subject and topic. It's ridiculous. It's an endless topic to talk about and review. But he talked about how the current cryptocurrency, the blockchain and stuff, was kind of a similar currency that they used up there when he was going back and forth. His story almost sounds science fiction, but he talks about a lot of different things. So I know bro says I seen the Phil Schneider video. Yep. He's another interesting one. People doubt him. People said, oh, he was schizophrenic, blah, blah, blah. But he did have some proof with his hands being severed and stuff. I wish he would have opened his shirt up now. That's what he should have done. And I don't know if anybody has ever seen him with his shirt open, because he did say they had a firefight down there with the aliens, and he shot one of them. He shot another one or whatever. And one of the beings opened up, or one of the beings rubbed around his chest, and a beam of energy came out and hit him. But it would have been nice to see if he had the scars on his chest too. That would have been interesting to see. So Ray says, I grew up with RC electric to gas. Nice. Yeah, I believe Phil was the real deal too. So somebody says the small grays essentially do the bidding of the mantis. I've heard about that. If you guys haven't, check out a movie called Above Majestic. I think that's the name of it. The first 15, 20 minutes of that movie is really, really interesting. They get into Nazi technology. I always wondered how the Nazis went from A to Z really quick. I mean, they went from propeller-driven craft to a jet craft to what was going to be Foo Fighters and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the war ended. But they talk about a lot in that movie. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody, but they talk about that. And they talk about the alien exchange and all this and that. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty good movie to watch if you guys are really into this UFO alien phenomena and other things. It's a really good movie to watch. It's called Above Majestic. You can actually get it on YouTube. I think it's actually $5.99 now. It was $20 when I bought it a couple of years ago, but it's actually worth getting, and it's actually worth watching because they talk about a lot on it. If you guys want me to start doing particular movie reviews on stuff like that, let me know, because I can give you more in depth, and it's going to be, I'm not even going to say spoiler free, I'm going to talk about the movie. But that was probably one, if I do, I'd open it up and talk about that because that's got a lot of interesting stuff in it. So, yep, Antarctica. The list goes on and on. I mean, it's so much out there to cover. And sometimes when I put stuff out there, people are like, oh, this is old stuff. This is an old video. Well, they have to realize that not everybody has seen everything. And part of the reason is some of this stuff may be fake. And I know I've lost some subscribers because of that. But I want to put the information out so that if someone is just now getting into this and they come across one of my videos that I put out there, they can say, hey, I think Joe Smo was talking about that. They look at the video and then they see some of the comments and somebody may say, hey, that was debunked or that's fake, and check out this source for it. So that's part of the reason why I put all that information I can find out. Now, some of the stuff is obviously a fake, but that's the reason why I put that out there, because every day I think there's someone else that's actually more interested or involved in this, and they need to know what's real and what's not real. Like the news article I just put out about the structures on Mars and stuff, that site is kind of suspect. Don't know how true it is. I'm still trying to contact another resource on that. So we'll see. But in case, let's say 3 months from now, someone else saw that article and they're just now getting involved in this and they're going around saying, hey, this is on Mars and it actually is not. They can at least come back to this video, see some of the comments and say, okay, they've actually looked at it. And based off of this comment, if I do a update video, this is not true. Somebody went in and photoshopped it into a lie. So I'll try to spit as much truth as I can. Hopefully it's more facts. The truth is if we can just get something to land down. So what's your take on Skinwalker Ranch? I will never go there. I had somebody that wanted to go there, and I said, I am not going. Y'all go on your own. Portals exist and links to UFOs. Yeah, there's a lot of spiritual phenomena going on at Skinwalker too. I don't know. If I ever went there, it would be during the daytime. I'm not going during the night. And I would be completely prayed up because that is a very interesting place. It's almost like trying to fly over the Bermuda Triangle and thinking you're going to come back safe. But there's a lot of stuff going on there. I've seen a lot of videos on it. And I thought about doing it, but I'm like, we'll see. So Ray says, yes to the interviews. Yes, I will be doing that. I just have to reach out to a couple people. I'll start off light with the interviews until I can get kind of a feel for in a good format. I am, like I said, I do have software and stuff like that I'm working on with. So I'll definitely be doing that. And I have another email address I'll be using to my Gmail account. It's not like there's anything wrong with it, but people want to start sending me videos and stuff. And my Gmail is almost full and I refuse to pay Google more money for more space. So I'll probably be using my Yahoo account for that. It's basically /JT@yahoo.com until I get this website up for this particular thing, UFO conspiracies and stuff. You guys can contact me through that. So, clear liquid, I believe, is cooling liquid inside. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about with that. I may have missed a comment. So, someone has physical proof of their abduction. You can reach out to me. If we don't do like a live interview, maybe I can just do a video to talk about it, to do kind of a story of who you are, what you are, as much information as you want to put out there, and then talk about your particular abduction and any proofs. I mean, I've seen tons of videos where people say they were abducted and people try to deny it, but they had a piece of metal that's not defined on Earth in their arm and all kinds of stuff. So I would never say nothing has happened to someone, because I've had stuff happen in my life that people wouldn't believe. And I just say, okay, that's fine. I don't care if you believe me or not, but I would love to hear that and see some of that physical proof you have. Ray says, using a spirit box can contact Grays, Ebians. I have someone. Okay. Someone asked, how do you feel about the disclosure movement and Dr. Stephen Greer? So I think the disclosure movement is good. I personally think I think he should be a little bit cautious of some of the stuff that he's getting in contact with. That's the best way I can put that. I'm glad that he's doing some of the work he's doing, but some of his communication I think is not the best, and that's just my opinion on it. But I'm glad that he's actually moving forward, because he did some stuff out there. He's done a lot for the community, and I don't want to discredit him. I just think that he should be a little bit cautious of some of these beings he's getting in contact with, but that's just me. But I am glad he's doing what he's doing, because when he had that disclosure conference, what was it, 15, 20 years ago plus, and the people were talking about, he had a whole panel of people. He had the people talking about the ARV stuff they saw, bases on the moon, et cetera, blah, blah. That was a good conference. And I'm actually trying to find the full conference, and I haven't been able to find it yet. So if you guys know where that's at, put that in the link or something below, because I'd love to just sit down and just woo-sigh and then just watch that whole conference. So no problem. I think that's Skeeto Music TV. I try to put out what I can. I try to do it 3 or 4 times a week. I'm trying to get on a schedule, but it's just hard to get on a particular schedule, even with the news and stuff. It's so random sometimes. So, oh, cool, sweet. Appreciate that, Ray. Glad you're in the club. I'm a firm, and then Chronos says I'm a firm believer in the theories of Graham Hancock and what you said about the flood and the civilization. Yeah, I believe there's a lot to it, because now there's a video I'm working on. I know I said there's a video I'm working on, but I'm trying to make sure I present you guys with as much information as I can. I'm going to say it's facts. It can't be the truth unless we actually see it and know this with it. But I do believe in Genesis chapter 6, it says, the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they came unto them. And, it goes through that whole thing. So I do believe that fallen demonic beings did actually get with human women, have this hybrid race. That's kind of where I think the Greek mythology for the Titans and all that came about, and these so-called superhuman type beings were actually born. And it's a whole story. I mean, it's a lot of stuff in the Bible, and people don't realize that if the Bible was actually made into a movie, it'd probably be X-rated or something, because a lot that goes on there. But the Bible does have giants in it. One of the most popular giants is gonna be Goliath. It says he was over 9 feet tall. So I've seen History Channel and seen other people try to break down, oh, if he was this tall, he'd have bone structure problems and stuff. No, it says he was a warrior. Can you imagine having to fight somebody that is over 9 feet tall? I mean, his sword was huge. I mean, everything he had was huge. One strike of his sword, if you guys watch anime, I love the anime Berserk. His sword kind of reminds me of that. So you imagine somebody over 9 feet tall being a warrior. I mean, that would be hard to fight. And he had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes and stuff. And then he had actually relatives too. And there's a king in the Bible back in early Genesis, and I think his bed was like 25 feet tall, or 25 feet long. So whether people want to believe it or not, there is actually talk of giants in the Bible. There's actually talk of dinosaurs in there too. People just don't realize that the term dinosaur didn't come around until I think it was the late 1800s. So, and that's like late. I'm talking about 1880, 90 or something, until we started talking about dinosaurs and stuff. But it does talk about particular creatures in there. It does have something called the Leviathan, which actually breathed fire out. I believe that the Leviathan looks kind of like the Chinese dragon. Those are just some of my thoughts and beliefs on it. But the Bible does talk about a lot of that stuff. As far as aliens go, there are particular influences in there. I don't think Ezekiel saw an alien being, but he did talk about seeing particular creatures and stuff. But we'll get into that if you guys want to see that at some point in time to talk about that. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but that's always fascinated me. I always thought about trying to do a video, and when I get this live equipment set up, I can actually start sharing screens and showing stuff and talking about it more. And you can agree or disagree. I'm not going to be upset or anything like that, because when it comes down to it, whether you believe in God or not, only He knows the absolute truth. And some point in time, the truth will be revealed, and hopefully this disclosure will get out of what's going on with all this other stuff. So back to the comments. Excuse me. I think there's a connection between the demonic core and what Bob Lazar explained. Yep, and the sport model. He said he had that eerie feeling. I mentioned in my last broadcast when I went live about a guy, I can't remember their name, and I wish I could remember that and find that, where he actually touched on the craft, and it was like a light bluish color. And then he climbed. He was trying to figure out how the thing worked. And then some general came in, was yelling at him. They were screaming back and forth. And as he climbed down off the craft, he touched it again. It was a light pinkish color. So he realized that the craft was like a symbiote or something that can operate off of thoughts and feelings and stuff. That's why it didn't have any controls in it. How true that is, we don't have photos of the inside of it. Wish we had something, which is kind of going back to the whole Billy Meyer thing. I don't discredit Billy Meyer for what he probably saw, but I do discredit some of his footage out there. I'm not saying it's all fake, but I do believe some of his footage that he put out there was a little bit extreme, but that's just my thoughts. So Anti-Gravity says, Phil did show his chest and scars. Okay, I'll have to look that up because I've never really researched that, but I wish he would have done it. I know he showed his hands. I think he said it was his hand and his foot, but I never saw his chest. He said he kind of opened his chest up too, so I would have loved to have seen it. So Raju says he was always an RC racer. Yeah, I just went live on the other channel too. So going through races, great movie. I think you're talking about Above Majestic. That's a good movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you want to watch something, especially tonight. I think the Wi-Fi goes live or does a premiere every Thursday around 9 Eastern. And they've got a great channel too. I love the Wi-Files, Hecklefish. So I'm a big fan of like the Wi-Files. I've seen Secure Team. I haven't been watching too much YouTube, but I'm a fan of that. But I love the Wi-Files. He does a good job of going in, breaking stuff down, and then coming back with, you know, some facts on stuff. And he's been pretty much on point with a lot of things. And a lot of people, some people still don't like him, but that's life. So someone says, come on, let's do Skinwalker. Okay, we'll do it. I just don't know if I'm personally going to go there. If I go there, I got a drone. You guys see this drone? I'm going to take this drone. I'm going to fly it over there. How about that? But actually, one of the things about this drone, too, is I will be flying it out and seeing what I can capture as far as footage goes. I think I'll have to get this license some, but I do have this drone. If you guys want to know more about this, once I get this going and get some video footage of it, I can tell you more about it because I know a lot of people are capturing footage with drones and stuff. So it's going to be good that I have that drone too, because that's going to be interesting, some of the stuff I capture. So Kim S said, per NASA said that we can't leave Earth. I don't know why they ain't went back to the moon. We kind of know why, but it's like so stupid. I mean, you got private organizations going up in space and stuff. Why can't you just go back to the moon? I mean, just let us know something. I mean, it's about time that we start getting some of this information. I mean, if you have it, you have it. You know, no one's going to be, I don't think, too upset if you say, yeah, we do have alien craft, or we have seen this and that. I mean, they gave us that little tease last year, which was a lot of BS and suspect. And like, really? But I think that people are asking the wrong questions. They keep saying UFO, now UAP. I think we need to be asking them about ARVs and all that stuff, alien reproduction vehicles. What have you guys actually gotten that you've reverse engineered? I think that's some of the questions that we need to be asking. Is what we're seeing a lot of stuff that either we created or we got the technology to create? I think those are the questions like the Jeremy Corbell and all them need to be asking the government and talking to the high officials about. I think once we get that, then yeah. So simulation theory could be covered also. I've never heard of that, simulation theory. I don't know if it connects to aliens really, but could be connected to glitches in the reality and other dimensions too. Could be. There's so much out here, guys. There really, really is. There's a lot going on. I mean, I could tell you guys my story of some stuff that I've seen and all that, but it gets pretty interesting, to say the least. Jennifer said, are you not afraid of being affected by demonic activity? Not really. I mean, I've experienced and seen them before, but I am kind of leery of Skinwalker Ranch. I don't want to go there and then leave and come back and be like, I got something to follow me back home. I'm not going to say I'm pretty somewhat diverse in the spiritual world as far as a lot of that stuff goes. A lot of stuff I think we're not aware of, and it's always a learning battle with that stuff. But I'm not so much worried about being affected by it and the activity, because I kind of know some of the stuff that's going on, but not everything. But I don't want to put just my thoughts out there because it can't be backed by a lot of facts, and definitely not by too much truth unless I have something. Most people want to see the raw evidence right there. So I had a roommate been abducted. To this day, he gets nightmares. Ooh, that's bad. See if your roommate wants to be on the show. Look to the skies tonight for the comet. I know, man, it's raining here in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's out there storming and stuff. So Project Utility Channel has the original Steve. Okay, I'll look that up. Project Utility Channel has the original Steve Greer disclosure interview. Okay, I will try to look that up because I want to sit down and I want to watch the whole thing. I mean, he had a whole panel of people, and they were willing to testify in front of Congress. So I appreciate that. Some says you're covering a lot of material. I don't want to butcher you guys' names, so I do apologize. He said I'm covering a lot of material. Keep it up. I try to. Like I said, the information I put out earlier about the stuff on Mars is kind of suspect, but I at least wanted to put that out, get some comments from you guys, get some feedback, and then we can go from there. Because I have no problem with doing an update saying, hey, this site is bogus. These people are lying. This stuff ain't true. Watch out for this site going forward. They're not credible at all. So, and if I do a video, I put in the comments, you guys will see it there. So, races, even in America, now people talk about giants. Yep. Heck, there's probably still giants roaming around here and there periodically. So, Rob is in the house. Hello. And if you guys have UFO channels, put it on here. I have no problem with shouting you guys out, telling you guys to go check out your channels and stuff. I'm not the person to say, look at my channel, only look at me. I'm not that kind of person. I am open to talking to people about this stuff. I could talk about this for hours and hours. And my knowledge is very limited. I'm not saying I'm an expert or guru on this. And if I see something, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's why, like I said, I put this stuff out. So I know about Brosa actually lied, had a red aura fly over me when I was fishing once. I thought it was a flare or something, but it had came from the lakeside of the sky. I think I might have mentioned that in my last go live where there was two guys out fishing. I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and it might have been on Unsolved Mysteries when they were, because they used to, Unsolved Mysteries used to have it going on, them and sightings. And these two guys says they were sitting up there, they saw a craft. They couldn't tell the shape of it, just fly. It was flying, and then it just all of a sudden started slowing down. And they said they saw like a portal open up, and then the craft flew into the portal, and the portal closed. You know, it's like, whoa, you hear stuff like that, you're like, okay. Yeah, could have been asteroid, could have been a million and one things. So, yeah, Bob has proven a lot of stuff, especially the 115 when he talked about that. People are like, oh, you're crazy. You know, now we can construct it, but I think it lasts less than a millisecond or something. It's not even enough to be utilized. But so Luke says, JT, what are your thoughts when Musk puts, when Elon Musk, I'm assuming you're saying Elon Musk puts a man on Mars. Will they find evidence of previous civilization? I believe they probably will. They'll find something up there. I do believe, and you guys correct me, I do believe they did find some ice or something on Mars. There possibly was a civilization on Mars. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because there's so much just stuff mixed in with that. I did look at a couple of YouTube channels that were actually trying to film Mars, and it was so weird because Mars has always been a blur, but you can see Saturn, you can see the rings around Saturn, but you can't focus in on Mars. Is that just weird? Could be wrong about that. I am been looking at telescopes. I do want to at some point in time go live and just sit out when when it gets more summertime and the sun sets about 9 o'clock to do some stuff on that. So yeah, that Demon Core, like I said, it's a lot of stuff. A lot of information's out there already. I just want to be the channel that kind of revisits some of that stuff and presents it out there because some of those videos are old and some people won't come across those videos. There's some great videos on that whole Demon Core. But those videos are so old that I think that if people search on them now, there's comments on them that are up to date, but a lot of people just aren't seeing. But I think if I at least presented part of it and people come across it and see it, then, you know, we can put new information out there. So. Okay, Douglas said he did see a video with Phil Schneider's chest being open. Okay, I would love to see it. Scroll down. Suspect Sky has some good videos. I'm trying to make sure I get to all you guys' comments. 2001 National Press. Okay. Posted a link on that because I want to check that. I want to check out the whole conference. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've never seen the whole thing. So Says Grays believe in God and claim to have a soul too. Okay. I mean, there was so much stuff I remember in the 80s and 90s when people were talking about being abducted by aliens. They were saying they were being introduced to hybrid type children. Don't know if it's their DNA mixed with our DNA. I've heard of people talking about they were shells and then they had spiritual beings coming into that shell. And it could be a million and one things. We would never know until we actually saw like a hybrid. But I remember, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of talk about hybrid race between our DNA being mixed with theirs and, all that. I mean, we can see from the videos we've seen with the Evians or whatever, we're physically superior as far as our body structures are concerned. So if we kept our physicality and some of their, I guess, knowledge and whatever else they have, that'd be a pretty good race out there. So Rob says, watch everything I can about Gary Nolan. Okay, I'll do that. Yep, the truth never lies, but the facts can be a lie. And what I say by facts is, I talked to somebody about that a while back. Facts is kind of based off of what man says. Like the facts could say, if you get 5 people together, 3 could have an STD. But the truth could be none of them could. So those are the facts based off of whatever they're trying to throw in statistically lies with that. Trying to make sure I go to some of these comments. Buzz Lightyear, I'm not sure what you're asking about that. MF is in the house. Okay, David, I have to look him up. Somebody just got here and I don't know if anyone asked, but if an alien was in your room and asked if you want to leave Earth permanently, would you go? Oh no, I probably wouldn't leave permanently. I like my car. I would say, take me for a ride. Let's see what's going on. A lot of people would ask certain things on stuff like that, but I wouldn't leave permanently. I mean, Earth is a beautiful, beautiful planet. I mean, we have so much we can see here, I believe, and so many things just to discover. I wouldn't want to leave. I mean, I would want to visit outside the cosmos, but as far as leave and not come back, I'd be like, no, I kind of miss people and I miss interactions. I know we say we wouldn't miss it, but I think we would miss certain parts. So I appreciate that, Eric, for the donation. Yeah, see, people go for science. Like, I don't know, what do you guys think of it? If they came and they said, hey, you can come with us, but you got to go permanently. You ain't coming back. Would you come back or would you stay? Would you say, I'm not going to go? I wouldn't go if I had to permanently go, but would I have a choice at that point? They're like, hey, man, you saw us. You got to come with us. I appreciate that. I know this is at a pretty good channel, so I appreciate that. Try to get some stuff out there. Kevin, nice to see your face. Yeah, it hasn't been shaved and stuff, but I figured instead of going live and showing you guys a book stuff, I'll go live like this. I do have some software updates coming because I do plan on going live and reviewing stuff with you guys to talk about it. I think it's good to be having an open discussion because that way it's just not my thoughts and a couple of comments I may have gotten when I do a regular video. When I go live and I start showing things, we can look at some stuff and look at some videos, maybe look at some of the archive and talk about it and say, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't look real, or go back here, rewind here, let's take a look at that. And there may be people who can give more insight on that. So if you guys haven't smashed the like button for me, I'm trying to get this YouTube algorithm down. It's very, 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 very frustrating. So I'm trying to get this algorithm down. I try to do shorts. Shorts are interesting, so. Yeah, they're always hiding something. I'm trying to get to you guys' comments. Yeah, it was like up to 41 or 42 people, and now it's down by about 27 or so. But I appreciate you guys like it. Like I said, I'm trying to get this going, get this channel going, because I think the more people that join in and comment, the better. So any advice, sir, on what I captured? You have to remind me about what you sent over to me. I apologize about that. I've gotten several emails I'm still trying to get to. I believe you sent me, correct me if I'm wrong, you tried to send me 3 videos, but I only got 1 down. And I only didn't do a video on that yet because I want to do a collection of that user videos. So I do have about 2. That's including yours. So I was trying to get 3 or 4 more. But if you're the same person, He did capture, I believe it was two lights that were up in the air and that were kind of floating away. And they were probably going in sync with one another. I haven't put it up. Maybe I'll make it into a short and load that up after this video so people can see it. So, but it was a pretty interesting video. I was trying to zoom in on it and make it black and white just to see if there was any distortion there with it, or I could tell what it is. But if that's the same, if you're the same person, I do appreciate you sending that over. Find me on Instagram, or maybe you can do my Yahoo account at backlashjt@yahoo.com. That's a lot more space than my Gmail account, and that'll probably allow for you to send bigger videos too. So I think Gmail is limited to 25 megabytes or something, where Yahoo may be a lot higher as far as sending stuff. So. Okay, Eric, I just saw your comment on the Grays, and he said that they were asked if they believe in God, and he said he is to you as he is to us. Okay. It's in the book community. It makes sense. Okay, I think I'm at the bottom of comments. I caught up to him. Cool. All right. So I don't know if you guys have any questions for me or anything like that, why I'm live for just a short period of time, a little bit longer, trying to get this stabled up. But I am planning on, like I said, doing live video or interviews with people. I don't know if it'll be live or not, but I do plan on getting people on the channel. I do plan on getting more user input too. So you guys have seen some stuff and all that. So at some point in time, I will be reaching out to you guys. When you reach out to me the email and say, hey, can you get on the phone for 20 minutes, or you want to show yourself, or if you don't want to, that's fine. And then we can do an interview and then present that to everyone that's on this channel so you guys can see it. So yeah, you got to show me the pictures while I'm asking. You can still send them through my Gmail account. You can always send it through Instagram. Instagram's actually pretty good for sending videos. If I ask people to send some videos to me on Instagram, you can see that, not in the description, because I haven't put it there, but you can see in the description of my other videos how to contact me through Instagram and stuff. So what do I think about Stephen Greenstreet's content? I haven't seen that. I don't think he found out. He found all the guys at the Skinwalker Mormon, which is okay. You'll have to check that out. I've never heard of him before. I have to look and see what he's saying. So I appreciate that there was always one. Trying to get this stuff out there. We'll work on it little by little. So we've been live for 40-something minutes. I didn't know we were live that long. Time flies when you start talking about this. So I don't know if you guys want to hear anything from me or not. Appreciate the donation there, slaves. I don't want to butcher your name, so I can't read that. MUFON and 97 Haven actually locking space documents. I have to go back and after this video and take some of your texts and stuff and kind of put in a search to see kind of what's going on with that. So, because I think I told you guys in the last video what I saw when I was a kid. That's kind of what got me involved in this. I was sitting in my room. I saw something around. And I was like, whoa. So, do I believe? Yeah, I wouldn't create a channel if I didn't. I do believe there's some stuff out there. I do believe there's a cover for some stuff. For some reason, even after the Y-Files did their video on the ARVs, I think, to me, that was one of his best videos. It piqued my curiosity again about that. And that's why, like I said, I'll be doing the video comparing the ARV to the sport model. And that's a very, very interesting comparisons. I could tell you guys some of the evidence right now that I found if you guys want to know about it. And somebody says, tell your story. I can tell the story. You guys want to hear part of my story and about some of the comparisons between the ARV and the sport model, because that was actually pretty interesting. And that ARV was created in the 50s. And here we are in 2023. So real quick, I don't want to spoil the video. I'm pretty sure you guys will watch it anyway. So the ARV, of course, is an alien reproduction vehicle. So we all know that Bob Lazar was brought into Area 51 S4 to reverse engineer the sport model, basically seeing if they could take that craft that they have and replicate it with earthly materials. That was his purpose of coming in. I'm always like, well, it's been around for a while, so why couldn't they do it? And they have these ARVs. But the differences I know in the two is, one, the way they're controlled. We saw And you'll see this in the video. The ARV is kind of controlled manually and stuff at the point in time. They say it's basically a big Tesla coil that's kind of stacked in layers, and the way it operates and stuff. The way it's constructed is a lot different than the sport model. The sport model that Bob Lazar saw didn't run on electricity like the ARV did. It ran on element 115. And of course, he was there for less than a year. But if it ran on element 115, and they say he said something about it being stacked, and I have it in the video, and it has to be cut a particular way and all that, but they both use a different source of energy to actually move the craft. One seems like it's based more on electricity. The other seems like it's based more on element 115. It could be some other stuff in the background with it. So those are the differences. And then also the way it's being controlled. The sport model does not have any controls in it, where the ARV, as you guys saw there, and I'll show that, has like a little lever where you can regulate the amount of power going to it. And it has like a little cylinder ball where you can kind of guide it to go back, forth, up and down with it, which is interesting. They both kind of form an anti-gravity field or shield around them. But I think the sport model is more or less more sophisticated, of course, than the ARV. And maybe with the ARV, they were trying to figure out how to generate or do the same thing, something like the sport model did. But there are huge differences between the two. Like the ARV, it has goggles on, and it has like little cameras on top where you can kind of see through it and go forward. So that's the ARV. Where the sport model, I remember Bob Lazar saying that when they were in it, they did a certain particular thing, and the side of the vehicle actually became transparent to where they could see outside of it, where you could see outside, but you couldn't see back in, which I thought was interesting. With that, I think I'd freak out if I saw that. But I remember reading on one of the newer fighter jets from America that they actually had to have new fighter pilots trained for those, because of there's so many things kind of going on with it. So in that video, I'm trying to give you guys some information, because that's going to be really interesting when I put that out. So those are some of the differences, but they both travel fast. Now, how the ARV travels faster than the speed of light, I don't know. I think the thing would fall apart, but that's just me. But they both can travel very, very fast. It just seems like the sport model, instead of the ARV kind of tilting and flying, the sport model actually, as he says, goes belly up when it flies in one of its modes. It has two modes. So those are some of the major differences between the two. But you'll see all that in the video, because I think it's better when you visually see what I'm talking about. There's a couple other things too, but maybe what Bob saw when he was in the hangar, he said he saw 8 vehicles, 9 including the sport model. One that looked like a top hat, a jello mold. Maybe some of those stuff were actually ARVs that we actually created and they were experimenting on. And then he said it was one that was turned up on its side and looked like they shot a projectile or something into it. Maybe they were trying to see if they could get the anti-gravity field around the craft and shoot it to see if they could actually hit the craft. Who knows? But Fred Jenkins says, appreciate all the time you put into this. Appreciate it. Keep grinding. Also, what's your take on suppression of technology given to us? Yeah, I think technology stuff has been suppressed. I think it may somewhat be for the safety of us, people in general, but then again, I think that it should be out there. But I talked earlier about a movie called Above Majestic. They talked about technology given to us, and what they did with it, I don't know. But I do believe a lot of stuff is being suppressed. I think that it may hurt the economy if a lot of this gets out here. You got to think about free energy and what they talk about with all that. You know, if free energy was put out there and people learn how to do it, there's going to be a lot of jobs lost. I don't think people think about how it would affect the economy too if people can just have free energy and stuff. So it's not just the money mongers that are way at the top, but it's also going to affect everybody, because a lot of job stuff are going to be lost, and there could be a crash on the economy. I don't know, but I think about that too, about when people start talking about the free energy and all that. And I think about the effects to everyone if that kind of gets out. And I think about job wise and all that. So it could be, you know, good, but it could also be bad, because our whole society is built off of, you know, things and as such of working and making money. So I think that's the reason why a lot of that's being suppressed too. They should show it to us. I don't know. I don't know. That's a topic to probably be discussed in some other video at some point in time. I wouldn't freak out. I just be like, oh, cool, they actually put it out there. So Everyone should peek around their public library because I live in a town with 35,000 people and ours has MUFI meetings. Oh, that's crazy. Okay. I know when I did this on my RC channel, some of the guys from MUFI did reach out to me about some of the content I had out there. And they do have an Atlanta chapter I was going to try to join. I just can't allocate time, excuse me, for that just yet. So, yep, Ray said mercury liquid metal. Yep, so that's also something to be talked about with some of the ARVs. And I'm going to mention other craft too that people have seen. So it's going to be the ARV compared to the sport model, and then a couple of other things too, as well. Because I do remember in I think it was 89 or 90, there was a person who said he saw, and this was I believe it was in the 70s, he saw a craft fly in front of him. He said some legs came out of it, 3 legs came out of it, and it landed down, and then the door opened up. And when he saw inside the craft, it had a big electric beam that was just shooting down back and forth from it. And he walked up to the craft, and then the door closed. And there was these 6 dots around the craft that circulated around it, and it started up, and it actually hit him, and it circled around the craft, and it took off. And I believe, if I can recall, he died of radiation poison, but he was able to talk about it, and he actually had photos of it and stuff too. You know, there's stories of, I think it was in the late 1800s, about a UFO actually crashing into a small city. There was a being found, and they actually buried the alien being in a graveyard, and the government won't let you go and dig that graveyard up. But fragments of the actual craft landed in the well that the town was drinking from, and a lot of people died too. So there's stuff like that out there that I want to cover. I just have to find all the information, at least present it to you. So. Yeah, I like that sport model too. Could the green comet be an omen? I don't know. Is that the comet that's going to be shown tonight, a green comet? It's raining here in Georgia, so I have to go on YouTube to try to find that comet to see where it's at and what's going on. So we got Brett. What's going on, Brett? Appreciate you joining. We're just going live, trying to get this stuff going and see what's going on. So says Lazar was exposed to both ET and military tech. Yeah. Although he knew the difference because of his expertise and knowledge. Yes, he did. So appreciate that, Eric. Appreciate the donation for that. We got Black Gray in. Appreciate you joining in. You guys smash that like button. If you guys want me to stay live a little bit longer, I'll do it. I was only going to go live for like 30 minutes, but I think we're getting into conversations and we could talk about this stuff for hours. So, assurance's attention. Mary Hall consists ISS Watchdog just caught a UFO highway over Asia and one headed directly to Antarctica. Okay. I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to see if I can find some information on what you're talking about there. She's basically saying the ISS, International Space Station Watchdog, just caught a UFO highway over Asia and one head directly to Antarctica. So if that's in the news, we definitely need to put that out there. That should have been in the news I put out there later today. And it's stuff like that, guys, that I don't always catch, and you guys see some of this information. So I'll definitely go back to that comment after this video and find out what's going on. I'm going to butcher that name, but I see your comment. I know, bro, has some stuff about free energy. He's really into the physics of it. Yeah, I'm kind of leery of the free energy stuff because people start talking about that and people start disappearing. Although I'm not creating anything, it's using free energy, so that shouldn't hurt me. Yeah, I'll be talking about that too at some point in time, some of these blueprints and stuff. I'm surprised no one has actually got together and did a GoFundMe. Let's create a UFO. Let's create an ARV. I'm surprised no one's done that. They have the blueprints for it. I mean, some of it's patented, some of it's not. Why don't somebody get together and just do that? If everybody who's in this UFO community gave $1, you'd have the millions you have to create one. Yeah, Stephen, it is a monopoly. You would think there's a better way, but we'll see how that plays out in the next 5 to 10 years. So Andy said, what do you think about the Chinese balloon that's flying over your country, and they say they don't care to shoot it down. Sounds like they want to sell us a story. I didn't hear about that. You guys let me know. He said, he asked me, what do you think about the Chinese balloon, which I didn't hear about, that's flying over, I guess, the U.S., and they don't care to shoot it down. I didn't know about that. I'd be curious what that balloon is consisted of. I remember years ago, there was a company that was actually going to be taking like a blimp or something and flying it around and giving off free energy and free Wi-Fi. And it was going to be a better connection and stuff. And it was just going to fly around forever. So I wonder if that's something similar or something. So Brad O'Neill says there was an aurora in Texas. Yeah, Bob Lazar saw the aurora, or what's considered the aurora. I did a video on that. I should probably make that into a short, but what did he say? It looked like it was liquid methane propelled or something. He said he saw the back of it. It had, I think he said 4 squares in the back of it. It had like a zigzag cross, and he said it sounded more like it was ripping the air or tearing the air more than a jet engine. But he said he briefly saw it, but he said he didn't care. He was working on the soft technology. He said, who cares about something like that? Yeah, Bob, you should have looked at that a little bit closer. But he probably didn't care. He was young. He was 21, 22. So imagine you being 21, 22 and going in there and working with that. So Sean says, thousands of UFOs seen from the International Space Station at 8:45 this morning. Okay, I'm going to have to look that up. He said a YouTuber called Mary Hall spotted that. So I'll check that out. You guys can look that up too. I'll look at that and maybe I'll put some information out. So Jennifer says the appointed time of the nations. Yep, Luke 21:25. Also, there will be signs in the suns and the moons and the stars. Yep, and on earth. Yep, anguish of nations that know. Yep, that's all coming. What I'm curious about is when the Bible talks about that asteroid called Wormwood that hit the ocean, and I'm very curious about that because I do remember at some point in time there was something approaching Earth years ago, and they were trying to define it. And it may have been Wormwood too, the same name that the Bible gave a particular asteroid. So that'll be interesting how all this plays out in the next 5 to 10 years. (2022) E3 ZTF green comet coming today. Okay, I'm gonna look at that and see. He sure did. People talking about Bob Lazar is supposed. I'm in 115 before it came out. He talked about a lot of stuff. He said the only thing he could recognize in the craft, he said, I think the doorway or something. He touched it. It was like a honeycomb. It kind of collapsed in and uncollapsed out. He said that wasn't anything that was fascinating to him. And then he talked about a particular side of the craft that actually faded to where he could see through it. And that didn't really impress him because they had glasses. They had glass that can do that. But he's got to understand too that we have glass that can do that, but not metal. So, but he said that didn't impress him because he's seen that technology type before, but everything else impressed him about it. I mean, he did say that no human could actually fit in there comfortably. I do believe when he was walking past the doors and he saw 2 people standing there with their backs to him talking to somebody small or whatever, they probably got a smaller pilot to talk to him about navigating this craft at some point in time. But Eddie says he don't believe Bob Lazar anymore. Okay. I'm not gonna shun you because you don't believe him. I'm not gonna convince you to believe him. I personally do. Some people do, some people don't. Just like Billy Myers, I believe some of his stuff, not all his stuff. Some people believe everything for him, which is fine. We can agree to disagree. So there's a compelling video by, yeah. I don't know if that's saying the Nizzy Monkey. He's lying. Okay, you're talking about Bob Lazar. Okay, I'll look at that. I've seen videos where people talked about Bob Lazar and try to do an analysis. I know he's done several lie detector tests and passed them all. But like I said, Bob is pretty much everything he's talked about has come true, from Melvin 115 to the way the craft fly and all that stuff. So some people said he was just a janitor working there. Well, he was a pretty smart janitor that worked at Melvin 115. So Dean says, I got this 30 years ago, still waiting. God knows what people in the 50s think. Oh, okay. I've heard that theory before too. Some people are saying that they wonder if a lot of these creatures are us from the future. Um, it's not that I don't believe in time travel. I just don't believe in traveling back in time. And there's reasons for my belief on that. I believe you can travel in the forward in time, but not back in time. And that's only because of if you look at space when an astronaut goes to space and stuff, time actually slows down. I mean, their time up there is a lot slower than the time here. That's why when they come back on Earth, they go somewhere for several hours and this and that, or the day or two, and they have to catch up to it. I mean, it's just time just seems completely different. So I do believe if you traveled out in space and you went somewhere and you came back, I do believe in the forward time. I just am not convinced on going back in time. And that's just me. I mean, if you can go back in time, a lot of people change a lot of things too. But that's just my thoughts on that. So, Rich Shaw says, fun fact, I work for NASA. All the drawing centers have to be shredded. Yeah. Even with zero classification, I highly doubt the ARV blueprints are public if they are real. Yeah, it would be interesting. It'd be pretty bad if the ARVs or something they just threw out there just to throw us off. Obrest is out speaking about the alien grave and okay, Texas. Okay. So you knew what I was talking about when I was talking about the alien grave. I mean the alien grave over in Texas. So yeah, it was basically a craft crashed. And maybe I'll do a quick video so you guys are aware of that. There's so many things I think that need to be caught up on and get us up to speed. I thought about doing a video. It's going to be an hour-long video, though, and it's going to talk about timelines from 1900 to 1949 and 1950 to 2000 into today and then going back in time. But I think that'd be a pretty long video. I don't know if you guys will watch that or not. Andy says it's live on Fox now, and we're live on this, so I'll turn on Fox in just a minute. All right, Michael, appreciate you joining. We won't be on here too much longer. It's been about an hour or so. So the International Space Station area has not showing on Google. Okay, I have to check that out. So Patrick says the Chinese balloon is interesting. News reported as very high above standard aircraft, but someone took a video of it and it was relatively low and almost seemed stationary. I'm gonna have to look that up after this video. Yep, Brett, I believe that's what it was. I appreciate that. April 17th, 1897, a UFO crash in Aurora, Texas. That is it right there. So if you guys want to look that up, that's it right there. Pretty interesting report on that one. But I appreciate that, Brett, because my mind is going like I got so many things going on. But I remember reading about that and watching a video on that years ago. Patrick says, it being stationary, I wonder how it compares to balloons like objects observed by the Navy pilots. I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up because you guys got me curious about some of the stuff that's going on. Sean says, I caught a spirit visually thousands of feet above me a few days ago, dancing around and responding to my thoughts. That's interesting. Should have got your camera out and recorded it, man. Patrick's Element 115 was going to be discovered, so can't really go by that as it's reliable. But how stable is the version controlling gravity? I think there's a lot more going on to it than just Element 115. But Bob did say it's the way it's actually stacked. I think he said it's cut in a cylinder and it's stacked up. And for some reason, it has to be cut in a cone shape and then it's fed into whatever it's fed into to help propel the craft. He did say that. He didn't say they just took Element 115 and threw it in something. So he did say that was a lot of stuff behind it. And then he doesn't go too much in depth into it because I believe he did take some Element 115 at some point, but he doesn't comment on it, which I don't blame him because he doesn't seem to want to lie. Has anyone seen the video called UAP demonstrating instant acceleration? No, I haven't. If you have a link for it, send it over to us. Trying to get to some more of these comments down here, guys. Billy Meyer's compelling videos as well. Yeah, like I said, I know there's a lot of Billy Meyer fans out there. I just think that some of his stuff just wasn't True. That's just me. Someone's like, you could just like, if I just took this and I just dangled it around, that's, and you, let me see if I can cover my arm up. Some of it's like that. And it's just like, man, I just don't know. Some of it, I mean, I did see some videos. Now, there was a video where some guys actually analyzed a craft that was actually sitting there, and he took a picture of it. And that's what I think he may have saw an ARV or something, because it did look kind of like it somewhat. And they analyzed it, said it was real. So I was like, oh, wow, okay. So these things have to be manipulated for gravity somehow, yeah. So TCN, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the donation for that. I'll start giving. I just started actually. People have asked me about donations before. I didn't want to put it out there because I don't want you guys thinking I'm doing this just for money. But he did donate $19.99, so I do appreciate that. I actually have T-shirts and stuff too, UFO conspiracy T-shirts, mugs, and all that. And I did start putting it out there in my first few videos, but I stopped doing because I didn't want people to think, "Hey, buy my stuff." But a lot of people, they either want to support the channel, they like the stuff, so I'll start putting it out there more at the end of the video so you guys can see it. But TCNN says, I'm truly enjoying your videos. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the donation again. Community building efforts like the live stream. I suspect you appreciate any donation, but I wish I could do more. Man, anything is appreciated. Even you guys just coming on and smashing the like button. I appreciate that too. Thank you for all you do and keep up the great work. Appreciate it, because stuff like that does help me to continue forward, because this YouTube algorithm is killing me. So, but I do appreciate that. I do really do. Patrick says, any good websites or forums for continued discussion? What is it? AboveTopSecret.com has some. I'm working on a site. I don't have any forums on there, but I'm working on it. It can get very time consuming when you create a site and it's kind of open for people to comment, because some people are interesting with comments, and you got a lot of scammers out there and stuff. And that's the only reason why I haven't finished the site yet. I may at some point, if this starts to take off and get a little bit bigger, use the resources, the financial resources, to hire someone to manage that site if I get that going, so that people can comment back and forth, if that makes sense. Because I wouldn't have time to do it, but I would need someone to manage that site, to control some of the comments, because some people can get pretty bad with comments and all that, which I understand sometimes you go against somebody's belief, but I've seen comments before, especially on my other channel, where people were ready to fist fight. And I'm like, it's not that serious. I mean, agree to disagree and kind of move on. But I think people were actually really getting on particular people about it. And they kind of blame me about it. I'm like, why you blaming me? And they said, it's my channel. I'm like, I can't read every comment. I had one video that had, oh, I don't know, over 1 million views and over 100,000 comments on it. And I couldn't go through every comment. But so long story short, Patrick, I'm looking at it, thinking about it. I'm pretty sure there's some software out there now that can help with that. I just right now can't allocate time to monitor comments all the time. It's hard enough to do it on YouTube, let alone try to do it on another site. So, okay, longer videos. I know you guys want longer videos. Sometimes it just takes a lot, but I'll work on that. Mass cancellation, that's why they use recovery fiber optics. Yeah, that's another thing. The ARV apparently uses, fiber optic cables and stuff. That stuff I'll talk about too. It's pretty interesting, because with the ARV, if it's true, inside the, I guess it's like a cylinder ball, it has a laser pointer in it. And of course, if you move it forward, the laser pointer moves forward, and then it tells where the coils are stacked up to actually put more energy on that end to tilt the craft and go forward. Of course, if you move it around, the laser pointer is kind of actually helping the craft move around like that. I'm just trying to grasp the concept of how much energy and stuff is going in there with it. That's why I'm surprised no one has reconstructed that nowadays. But you guys don't want me to zoom in. You don't want to see me like that. There we go. Okay, Ray said that his channel. Okay, nah, man. What's going on? Nick is in the house. Have you been watching the Green Comment? No, people keep telling me I've been live talking to you guys, and I can always catch a recording. I mean, I'd rather speak to you guys until the comments kind of subside down and then go back into the green comment with that. I would love to have went live, but I didn't download the software yet for this to go live and we could talk about that. But probably what I'll end up doing is going ahead and finish installing this software, take about 30 minutes and then come back and go live and we can talk about what we see. So, yo, Eric, Billy Meyer's story is pretty fascinating. Fastest balloon, faster than sound. All right, Jennifer, we appreciate you joining in. Always try to have this open chat. Whether we agree or not, I still want to keep it kind of cordial. I don't want to be, I'm not I guess, a person that's being in a conflict with people. So, what's up? We got Jay Groove in. What's going on? Appreciate you. Yeah, I saw the Corbell documentary too. He did give some pretty good information. I mean, even a little hand scanner thing that scanned the density of your bones and stuff. And Bob hadn't seen that in over 20 years. And he actually brought that in. So, yeah, I have seen the History Channel stuff on Skinwalker, and I'm always skeptical of the History Channel in some ways. I mean, they do have some good information, but sometimes they kind of water it down. So, yeah, Eddie, I think you mentioned that about the video. It's called UAP Demonstrating Instinct Acceleration. So I'm definitely going to go back to these comments and look some of that up. I'm kind of curious about this green comment you guys are talking about. Yeah, Matt, I'll continue on as much as I can. Yeah, like I said, Billy Myers, some of the stuff is, I believe is true. Some of the stuff I'm just like, we'll see. So Patrick says, Ray Black Feather. I would really like to discuss that further. I've watched many of these same videos in debates and found some points. Ben may not point to that. Okay. So Ray wants to know a little bit about me. So I am in software. I do a lot of things, guys. I don't know if you guys want to hear about me and what I do. I do a lot of things. I figure since God's given me the talent and ability to do stuff, I might as well do it. My motto is kind of, it doesn't matter, just do it. It doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter kind of what's going on. Just do it. Just do it. I mean, do it. That's all it is. That's kind of my motto. I actually have a t-shirt that's being made like that too. It says, it doesn't matter, do it. So I have authored 11 books. I'm working on the 12th one. And I actually thought about doing a UFO book. I will talk to my artists about that. And I actually thought about doing a children's book about this stuff too. But so I've authored books. I am into investments. I'm into crypto. I actually sold 2 NFTs last year. And I actually have other NFTs I'm working on too. I just haven't had time to put them out there. So those are some of the things I do. I do train. I do martial arts. I just haven't put videos out. People want me to start putting it out there. I don't know if I'll do that at some point in time, but I probably may or may not. Of course, I do the RC cars, radio control cars. You guys have seen that. So I got a lot of things I'm kind of mixed up in and do. So Bobby says, great channel with never before seen pictures. Yeah, the skyscraper thing, we're still trying to look on that site to see if that's legit or not. That is very suspect in a way. I'm trying to see what people are saying about that site. Because if it's not a legit site, then we at least saw our first bit of false information from them. We know going forward, don't listen to them. So, but if it's true, it'd be very interesting. But we know they're not showing us everything they see on Mars. They need to go live on Mars like they do with the ISS. But they don't, so. Oh, no problem, Patrick. John says, have you seen Chad? No, I have not. So, oh, appreciate that. Slaves Dish from the Confederation Rejoice. I appreciate that. Like I said, I appreciate you guys donating to the channel. I try not to. Somebody asked me last week, and I'm going to start giving you guys shout outs too, because I do appreciate it, about donating to the channel. I wasn't, like I said, doing it just to say, give me money, buy my merchandise. But I do appreciate it. It shows that my work that I do put out there is appreciated. So I thank you guys for that. I will be giving you guys shout outs on my next video, trying to go back to these comments. So I do appreciate that. Andy is asking an RC car question. Yeah, there's two companies out there that are kind of rivals, so I see what you're saying with that. So Matthew, I'm not sure. You're saying what is this channel about, and is it true that the U.S. Navy has a less weapon? I'm not sure if you're talking about this channel or something from the comments. So it says Travis says Stephen was against Stephen going to Skinwalker Ranch. It's good to hear the investigation from skeptics like the Green Street site, etc. I do believe something is at the Skinwalker. Yeah, I do too. That's why I'm not going there. If I go there, it's gonna be somebody. I'm telling y'all. If I go there, this drone I showed this to you guys earlier. I'll be flying this over there. I am not going in there. I'll be coming back and y'all be like, JT, what happened? I'm like, what are you talking about? My eyes be all big and I'm possessed with something. So hey, Chris, I'm gonna try to keep going. You guys keep the wood going on the fire. So as long as you guys kind of like what I'm doing, I'm gonna keep progressing forward, regardless of the YouTube algorithm. It is frustrating though, but all right, Brett, appreciate you. Have a good weekend too. Oh, Joel was at Mark Twain Hobby. So you guys know I have a YouTube channel. I have another YouTube channel too. I have an RC car channel. It's got about 75,000 subscribers on it. So I do post there probably almost daily. I've been subsiding back because I've been doing other things. But so a lot of people from my RC car channel came over here because they were like me. They're like, oh, you do UFO stuff and all that. And they came over here and joined me over here too. So Eric saying Jeremy is untrustworthy. Um, I think everybody has their what's the best way to put this? Everyone has their UFO thoughts on what they do. I think that sometimes we put stuff out that may not be true. We think it's true. I mean, I've done it on my channel. I put something out, say, I think this is kind of real, guys, and some people come, no, that's not. Look at this, and I say, oh, I didn't think about it like that. Um, I don't know if Jeremy's truly untrustworthy. He may have some stuff that may not be correct, but we're all human. And sometimes pride keeps us from going in and saying, I was wrong on this. I've rarely heard anyone say that when they are wrong. I'll try to admit when I am wrong on something. Like I said, the information about Mars earlier, that could not be right, but at least I put it out there for you guys to see it. So, Nick said, do you follow much on the Black Knight? I have been looking at the Black Knight satellite. Um, I have been looking at that. I don't know what to make of that just yet. I've seen several channels talking about it. I think someone said it weighed 15,000 tons or something like that. It's very interesting, that Black Knight satellite. I don't know how they got that nickname and stuff, and it's kind of hard to go back, but I've seen stuff on it's pretty interesting. Um, Pretty interesting. So I was always skeptical of that. What it's actually doing, how long it's been around. I don't know if they first saw, what was it, Sputnik that got launched in the 1950s from Russia. I don't know if they saw it there or not, but that's a pretty interesting topic too. So Green Comet, 50,000 orbit, 12,000 orbit since dinosaurs. Okay. So I know bro says do this more. I'm gonna try to go live at least once a week. Like I said, I'm working on software so it can be a little bit better. Right now, I'm in another room down here where it's kind of somewhat summer because it is raining pretty bad outside. But I want to start going live, and I want to make the lives always about you guys and not me just getting on here ramping and talking and every now and then answer a question. I want to make sure I go through all the comments because you guys have some important stuff to say and share. And I'll be doing some one-on-one interviews with people pretty soon. So I'll be trying to do these at least once a week. We'll try to designate a day to do it. Maybe we'll do it every Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know. So yeah, UFC this weekend. I actually have people that are contacting me about doing seminar stuff, which we'll see at some point in time for martial arts. But that's just something else to throw in the pot, right? We already got enough meat in there. Yeah, crypto is interesting. I can't remember the guy's name out bad, but it was a guy who talked about when he was younger. He made fun of a kid that looked weird and he found out the kid was in the Illuminati and all that. And they ended up abducting him at night, taking him away. And he did this. He was a slave for like 20 years. And he's the one that talked about Bigfoot being an alien race. They can appear and disappear as they want. That's why we can't get photos of them. And he talked about a similar currency like the blockchain, which they use for currency back and forth. He talked about them abducting humans and using them for experiments and super soldier programs. He has a pretty interesting story. And he's talked about it. I can't remember the guy's name out bad, but I remember I shared it with a friend because he talked about Bigfoot. And one of my friends loves Bigfoot. And I got a video, you guys, I want to show y'all Bigfoot. It's pretty interesting. He looks mad too. I think the camera's about 12 feet in the air or something. It's pretty interesting. I have some information on Bigfoot, but this one was, I saw that and I was like, yeah, he looks pretty pissed. And it didn't look like a man in a suit. So at some point in time, I'll get on Bigfoot. I'll get on a Loch Ness Monster, which I think the Loch Ness Monster is basically that water dinosaur that was out there, or maybe the Leviathan, I don't know. But I'll get into that at some point in time. So the Mars skyscraper, it seems like it's real. It could be. Patrick says, children's books are awesome. Yeah, I've done 11. I'm working on the 12th one. I've been doing them in different languages. I'm starting off with Spanish, and then I'm trying to convert them. And I actually have clay animation, too. I've started animating the books and stuff, too. So the bookmobile. What's going on, Jimmy? I'm trying to make sure I get through these comments before we stop this go live. I want to make sure I answer any of you guys' questions. Yeah, if those skyscrapers on Mars is true, that means there's some stuff going on. Wish I had a telescope to get out there and just look at the planet and watch it rotate for like a month just to see what's going on. So, thoughts on the Space Force and if they will expose any UFO activity. Man, that Space Force is very interesting. When Trump announced that, I couldn't believe he did it. I was like, wow, he's actually, and he announced it publicly. And it was just so random, just like he just, hey, we got the Space Force out here now. Why it was formed, I've seen videos talk about the Space Force and why it was formed. Space Force is very interesting. My thoughts on it is that there's something else going on, or being prepared for something in case something happens. And then we have this Space Force. Because why do we need a Space Force? You know, are they gonna, what all does it entail? Is it just about spacecraft? Or, I mean, it's a lot that can go into, because we know we got the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guards and stuff. So what does the Space Force entail? Is it just about craft and ships out there? Or do they actually have their own like Marines for the Space Force and all that too? It would be interesting to see a complete breakdown of what the Space Force is and what it does. And maybe I should do a video on it, because I don't think I've seen that much on the Space Force lately. So let's see. I didn't miss any of. Oh, appreciate that. I guess Rufus Rex said he doesn't miss any of my videos, so I appreciate that. Thanks for everything you do, JT. We'll catch you later. All right, Luke. I'll probably be exiting out here pretty soon as well. My thoughts on those tablets is very interesting. Sometimes it's just kind of hard to see because I haven't seen them myself. I do plan on going to Egypt this year. At some point in time, I plan on traveling a couple places, so I'll definitely be going live there when I go to Egypt. I'm actually going to go to Vegas and go to a couple of places, Roswell, Mexico. I'm going to go there. I want to actually see that stuff too. There's actually areas where you can go get a closer look at Area 51 and not get taken out. That's the best way I can put it. So I'll be showing it to you guys too, because I do plan on going up there in the next several months. I was gonna go last year for the 75th anniversary of the crash at Roswell. I think it was the 75th anniversary, but a couple things kept me from going up there. But I do plan on going at some point in time, because I want you guys to experience it. If you go up there and see the shop, see the people, sit down and talk with some people, I'll probably go live and we can just talk to people that come in and out. So. Joe B says, do you know anything about the guy who filmed the giant at the mountain? I think you're talking about the Wi-Fi's video from last week. Apparently this guy said he saw a giant. I think that's the guy you're talking about. He did a really good video on that. He had a TikTok account. He was basically posting up regular stuff, and then one day he was driving. He saw something on the mountain, and he said it was a giant. And then I believe he came back the next day or maybe a couple days later, and then there was a little building up there and all that. And White Files did a pretty good I'm pretty good. They did a really good breakdown of that. And then he ended up passing away several months later. I don't know. My thoughts on that is anything could be possible with that. He could have seen something up there, but they did on the White Files kind of break down the different areas where he was filming that from and kind of what he probably possibly saw. We don't know. I've heard of people. I saw a video where a guy was out in the mountain area and there was a creature that was about this big and it was walking through the snow just like it was nothing. It was huge compared to what they were trying to compare it as far as the person was away. They figured it was about 8 feet tall, I think it was. And he was just walking by himself, just walking up like a normal person would walk on the street. So stuff like that is interesting because you don't really see that from people. So what happened with that guy, I don't know. If he did pass away, my condolences to him and his family for that. Yeah, if I go there, I know the snakes are out there. So, all right, let's get to the bottom of this, see where these comments are. We've been on live for an hour and a half. Yep. TCNN says Bob was hired by EG&G to work at S4. Yep, he did supply a W-2. And remember when he went to court now, that's a red flag. It's complicated, but the story contractors directly with his W-2 should have come from EG&G. So I think when he went to court, he was doing some crazy stuff when he was younger. That would have been his chance to come clean, but George Knapp said he didn't. He said that would have been his chance to say, hey, I'm lying about all this stuff, but he didn't. And I guess they found out he worked there and he kind of got a pass. So he says his W-2 should have come from Omni. That's a red flag. It's complicated, but the government rarely hires contractors directly. His W-2 should have come from EG&G. I remember seeing that, and I didn't pay close attention to it. I just think that some of the stuff Bob has said has been true. A lot of stuff I think he said is true with that. I know I have a video, and I put it out there. I actually put it in 4 parts where he talks about his education. He talks about some of that stuff. This one was done in 1990. If you go back to my channel, and I probably should have broke that part down a little bit. Maybe I'll do an educational Bob where he talks about himself because people asked him questions. He was on in a public area doing a speech, and they were questioning him on his education. I believe he said he went to some of these schools, and I don't think he graduated completely, but I believe he went to some of those schools and got some education from some. I can't remember everything in the video, but he does talk about it in there. So Nick says, okay, watch his Bigfoot channel. Okay, I'll check that out. I've seen some recent Bigfoot videos, and they've been very funny. So yeah, I'll put that Bigfoot video out there. It's very short. It's about 5 seconds. He just walks up and he looks at the camera like, y'all really got me? And then he walks off, and it looks it looks pretty legit. So says I'm on the fence about Bigfoot, but David P from, I think it's what somebody else just mentioning. Yeah, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Wendigo, however they're trying to talk about it. So like I said, there's a guy that talks about how Bigfoot and the UFOs kind of coincide with one another. So trying to get through some of these comments, see if I'm getting to the end. So someone's trying to answer TCN's questions. As a military man, we always shift and compartmentalize, okay, stuff on purpose. Just saying. Yeah, it's skeptical with all that. I mean, it'd be nice to know somebody else that worked at that time to see what kind of information they put up, but they probably won't come out with that. So no problem, Eric. I appreciate you joining. I appreciate all you guys joining in. Oh yeah, I heard about the top of the Sphinx too. I've heard about lots about the Sphinx. I mean, the top of the head, the chamber that's underneath it. They probably won't let me go nowhere near that. They won't let anybody go near that. But it'd be nice to get around Egypt and hear some of the stories. Somebody would say, "Hey, we saw this, we saw that." But I want to go because I want to see that. There's so much to see here on this earth. I want to see some of that stuff before I close my eyes. So, yeah, I seen Mr. BB's stuff too. So, all right, y'all. I think I'm getting to the bottom. I think you guys are communicating amongst yourselves. It's been read. I read. I went there. Okay. I think we're to the bottom of this. So, we've been live for about an hour and a half. I wasn't planning on staying live this long. I was only gonna do about 30 minutes, but I enjoyed you guys' comments, some of your information out there. I gotta check out this comment you guys are talking about because I really want to see that. So, I know Bro says the UFO connection is out now. Okay, I'll check some of that stuff out. Besides, I gotta get ready, dinner and all that stuff. Gotta get all that in. I gotta do some other work on some other projects I'm working on. But I appreciate you guys joining. I said I wanted to go live, wanted to kind of show my face a little bit because I don't show it that much. And like I said, next time I go live, hopefully I'll have this software update and we can talk about some other stuff. But I'm gonna go check out this green comet y'all talking about because I'm interested to see what's going on. Because y'all know there's gonna be some kind of phenomenon around it. Somebody's gonna see something, a light, crap, or something around it, and the whole UFO world's gonna go crazy. So all right, guys, I appreciate you guys joining as always. Share my channel with your friends. We're gonna try to get this YouTube algorithm down because it's kind of frustrating. It really is. But I'm not saying it to you guys, but it's just frustrating what YouTube's kind of doing. But anyway, guys, I'll see you next video. I appreciate you guys joining.